Welcome back to this brand new review of the Transformers Age of Extinction Studio Series Leader Class Grimlock. As always, we'll take a quick look at the packaging, the backdrop, and then we'll take an in-depth, detailed look at the figure in both his robot mode, the transformation, as well as his Dinobot mode. For the packaging, the front of the packaging just showcases Grimlock in his Dino mode, states that he is figure number 07, he is part of the Studio Series, and that he is from Transformers Age of Extinction. The side of the packaging, we have a larger image of Grimlock in his Dinobot mode, and it says that he is an authentic Transformer. The back of the packaging showcases Grimlock in both the robot mode as well as the dinosaur mode, states that he transforms in 30 steps. His bio reads, freed from his confines, Grimlock unleashes massive Dinobot force. He is from Age of Extinction and he is part of the Hong Kong pursuit scene. Also states that he's got a backdrop and the other figures available in the first wave. For the final side of the packaging, we have a up-close image of Grimlock, states that he's figure number 07, Studio Series, and that he is part of the Leader Class assortment. The diorama or backdrop that Grimlock comes with is very reminiscent of that final battle scene from Age of Extinction. I believe this took place in either Hong Kong or China. As you can see, it's got all the different explosions, flip cars, just complete mayhem. Now here we have the figure himself, and I must say he's definitely probably my favourite out of all the first wave of Studio Series figures. He definitely surpasses Blackout in many ways. He's a lot better than Starscream just due to the accuracy, the colour scheme, just everything on him. It makes him probably one of the most accurate movieverse figures we've ever had to date. Bringing the figure in for a closer look, the head sculpt has been done impeccably well. He does definitely look like he's just jumped straight out of the screen, and I do believe that this is the first time since that Night Armored Turbochanger Grimlock that we've actually had an accurate head sculpt for Grimlock. The horn is of a rubber material, however we'll discuss that more when we get down to the transformation. I love how that they've managed to actually get two of his Dinobot heads on the top. Obviously in real life that wouldn't be practical, but the movieverse was never practical, and the fact that they've managed to replicate that in a figure is exceptionally well. Turning the figure around, he literally has next to no back kibble whatsoever. There are no parts that just hang off the back that don't need to be there. This skirt piece at the back is actually accurate, which is fantastic to see. Bringing it in for a closer look to the torso section, you can just see all the sculpted in detailing, and it has had this very nice wash all throughout to give him a really cool movie accurate look. This arm has got a built-on mace, which is accurate to the movie. I would have perhaps liked it if the mace was removable. However, I'm glad that they have implemented some form of weaponry into the character. The other arm is just a standard hand. It does house the bottom jaw of the Dino mode, as well as the arms for the Dinobot mode. The skirt section has been done too very well. As you can see, that wash has been applied all the way throughout, which really does give it a very authentic look. Bringing it down even further, we can see all the different spikes and ridges, which is really accurate to Grimlock's appearance in the movie. Unfortunately, the colouring that is apparent throughout doesn't carry over onto the feet, nor the mace, nor the hands, and some sections in the torso. However, it's not a massive drawback, and overall the figure does definitely look really movie accurate. Turning to articulation, Grimlock is packed with it. His head is on a ball joint, so you can tilt his head all the way down. It can look up, but not that far. You can tilt it side to side also, as well as look left to right. The arms are on ratcheted joints, so they can ratchet forwards and backwards. However, you do get slightly restricted going backwards due to these dino heads, but you can just push them back, and as they're made of a softer material, it will allow you to move them backwards. The arms go on ratchet outwards like that. There is a swivel there. There's also a bend at the elbow, and the wrist is on a swivel. Same articulation on this arm, however the mace is not articulated. He does have waist articulation, which is fantastic to see on a leader class figure, especially a character such as Grimlock. The legs have got a great deal of articulation too, moving this hip skirt piece out of the way. They are on ratchets going forwards as well as going backwards. This hip skirt section at the back can also move outwards to accommodate articulation. They're also on ratchets going out, which is really nice to see, as well as a ratcheted 90-degree bend at the knee. Finally, the feet are on a ball joint, allowing you to get him into a plethora of different poses. Overall, it's a fantastically articulated action figure. For your Studio Series size comparison, here is Studio Series Leader Class Grimlock next to the entire first wave of the first Studio Series figures. As you can see, he towers over every single one of them, including his Leader Class wave mate Blackout. Now, some may say that Blackout's not really a Leader Class if Grimlock is a lot bigger than him. However, there is just as much plastic in Blackout as there is Grimlock, it's just distributed very differently. Blackout is more of a heftier, more bulkier figure. Grimlock is rather slender, but more bulkier in the arms. And as for the Voyagers, as you can see, this is where the scale really starts to play out. You've got Optimus, who's considerably shorter than Grimlock, not completely accurate to the movie. However, if they were to really go with accuracy, Grimlock would have to be something like a Titan class or Supreme class figure. As you can see, Starscream is still a lot shorter, and the Deluxes are just completely dwarfed by the leader class Grimlock. Overall, I think this scale works perfectly. Personally, I like this scale between Grimlock and Optimus. I didn't particularly like how big Grimlock was in the movies. I did think it looked fairly ridiculous, so this is definitely my preferred scale between Prime and Grimlock. For your movie Grimlock comparison, here is the leader class Grimlock next to the premiere edition The Last Night Voyager Grimlock. Now unfortunately I don't have the leader class Grimlock from Age of Extinction to hand anymore. It is in storage and I forbid that I'll ever get that out ever again. As you can see, this new Studio Series figure is completely accurate when compared to this. This looks like an animated / cartoon figure. Really doesn't look anything like movie Grimlock. This guy just completely knocks out the park, and the same for the leader class as well. This would completely blow the leader class out of proportion if I was to have that figure here to compare today. Overall, I think that just about sums up everything for the robot mode. If you can't tell already, I'm thoroughly impressed with this figure. Initially, Starscream was my favourite out of the entire line until I received Grimlock, and that figure got completely dethroned. This figure is 100% accurate to the movie. It's actually astounding how accurate they've got him. For a Hasbro paint job as well, the paint on this figure is impeccable. They really have taken care when applying the paint apps to this figure. It really does help to make him look very accurate, and I do believe the use of dry brushing has been done extremely effective. I do understand why they haven't dry brushed some parts, such as the rubber sections. Paint on rubber does tend to crack, especially if the rubber is fairly flexible. However, you can just apply paint yourself. It's not really a big deal, and the aspects that don't have paint are not really predominant on the figure at all. Overall, I'm thoroughly impressed. The articulation too is fantastic, especially for a leader class dinosaur. He's just very, very well done. Now, turning to transformation is actually not as difficult as I first believed it to be. Firstly, you just want to collapse the horn section back. You want to take this arm and rotate it all the way around so that this spike section here is facing the skirt section. You then want to ratchet that up as far as possible. Under here, you want to flip out this tail section and peg it into place just like that. You then want to come to this dino head section and just split it completely in half and fold it downwards. Coming to this arm here, what you want to do is to bring out the dino head, the bottom jaw, just pull it out just like that. Rotate this like that so that the fist is now below this section of the dinosaur head. Pull this head all the way upwards like that, and we'll come to that bit in just a second. What you now want to do is flip up this hip skirt section and try and ply the legs apart just like that. They do require some force, but if you apply enough pressure, they will just come out like that. That will then give you clearance to rotate the dinosaur around just like that. We then want to take the head section and pull this forwards, and then proceed to fold this section inwards and tab it in to place just like that. Now we're going to begin to work on these arms. Now, whilst working on the arms, you want to collapse this section in there, and this groove section here will actually tab into a small slot under there. That will just keep the head locked into place. So all you want to do for that is to apply some pressure, and it should lock into place just like that. That will then bring this dinosaur head section. You then want to plug these two sections together. So using these pegs and these plugs here, just try and align them up as best you can, making sure that the other side too is lined up, and just fold down the dino arms. Coming down to these leg sections, you then want to plug these tabs in here into those slots there. So in order to do that, you need to rotate this whole piece backwards. It just goes like that, upwards, and apply some pressure, and they will tab in just like that. And then these will be flopping around. As you can see, there's little catches here that will actually hook onto these sections. So just tab them in, and you should secure the legs like so. This back section, you just want to fold these pieces up and just leave resting. It doesn't tab into anywhere, but if it drops down, we can modify that before we get into the dyno mode completed. Then you want to actually disconnect this joint here, just like that, and then bring this ratchet section all the way down, like so. Rotate the foot, and this spike section will actually go into a little slot at the back of the leg, like that, and then just fold up the spike section. This piece can be angled in any way you want it to be. Repeat the exact same step on the other side. So just snap that in, bring it forwards, lift that up, rotate the foot, and fold in the toe section. Just line them all up, flip this section up, and there you have Grimlock in his Dinobot mode. Now, as good as this Dinobot mode looks upon first glance, I do definitely believe that this was the afterthought for the robot mode. The robot mode is just so accurate, and whilst this is still very accurate, there are definitely some discrepancies with this particular mode. The articulation is not the best, and there are some gaps and just some bits that I don't believe have been done too well. Bringing him in for the detail aspect, as you can see, his head has been beautifully detailed. We've got all these mechanical components inside the head, and that dry brushing has really helped to capture some of the finer details. The teeth are all made of a soft rubber, so you can't worry about snapping them, or if you're a child, stabbing your finger with them. The arms too have been detailed impeccably. All the way throughout this figure, he's just been detailed so well, and the use of the dry brushing really does help to bring out some of those finer details. One aspect I don't particularly like, which I did say in the robot mode wasn't necessarily a big deal, is this tail section not being painted. In the dyno mode, it does definitely stand out, as the majority of the dyno mode is painted. I do like how the faux head does transform and fold away at the back. It doesn't look very apparent to be another one of these heads. Articulation in this mode, as I stated, is fairly limited. The head can just open its jaw on a one click, just like that. The arms are on a ball joint, so you can swivel them around. You do get very limited articulation at this swivel. The legs can ratchet forwards and backwards, as well as you can manipulate the knees. However, stability may be compromised. The feet are on ball joints, however, as you folded this section in, that too is compromised. And finally, the tail section can rotate, but then this section will begin to drop. So overall for articulation, it's fairly poor. However, if you just want him as a statue piece in this mode, he definitely does do the job very well. For a Dinobot comparison, here is Studio Series Grimlock next to the Voyager class Scorn from the last night. These two are the only Dinobots that I think are actually worthy of having in my collection. I actually put all the other Dinobots into storage just because I don't think that they look half as good as these two. These two are definitely the best dinosaurs, or the Dinobots, that we've had from the movies, and they do look really good together. I just hope Takara gets their hands on this mold and gives us a movie the best version. Would be very cool to have him in a similar paint scheme to Grimlock. But as you can see, Grimlock is a leader class and Scorn is a Voyager. I do think they scale fairly nicely, especially in terms of movie accuracy. As you can see, Grimlock is considerably larger than Scorn, which in reality I don't think a Spinosaurus is smaller than a T-Rex. However, in the movie I do think that Grimlock was considerably larger than the other Dinobots. So in terms of a movie accuracy standpoint, this definitely works very well, and they do look amazing in the display together. For a Studio Series comparison, here is Grimlock next to the Voyager Optimus. This definitely doesn't work at all. In the movie, Optimus was a lot smaller and did actually ride on Grimlock. If you were to put this figure on Grimlock's back, it doesn't look bad, but it definitely does not look accurate to the movie. But it doesn't look dreadful. I do think that it can still work, but in the movie, Optimus was about this big compared to Grimlock. Overall, if you haven't already guessed, I am extremely happy with this figure. He's definitely the best out of the entire Studio Series line, and he is better than Blackout in some ways, as he's just more playable and more enjoyable. His articulation isn't as limited as Blackout, and he just feels as if though you can pose him around in a variety of different ways. I think the paint applications are phenomenal. He's definitely the best movie Grimlock figure that we've ever got. His details and the accuracy to the movie, especially in that robot mode, are phenomenal. The only downside to this review is that this is actually the last Studio Series figure in the first wave, and I'm not particularly sure when the second wave is going to be released. I really do hope that they do continue this line. I know we have got Megatron, Brawl, and Lockdown and Jazz to come out, but as of yet there are none that have been officially announced. I would like some more leaders. I would particularly like if they did some more of the Dinobots, perhaps a Deluxe or a Voyager Strafe, as well as a Voyager Slug. That would be very cool to put alongside Grimlock. It's a very good piece and I do highly recommend him. Please subscribe, like and comment. I have plenty more reviews coming in the forthcoming days. I've got the entire MB The Last Night wave to review, as well as some other figures. So just subscribe in order to stay tuned for them. And until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.